You are standing in the middle of a room you spent your entire life trying to decorate, and yet you have never felt more like a stranger within its walls. You have the titles, the gadgets, the scheduled vacations, and the carefully curated digital footprint that screams success to anyone who isn't looking closely enough to see the glassiness in your eyes. You have everything you were told would make you whole, yet you feel like a hollow shell being inhabited by a ghost that no longer remembers its own name. This is the bargain you struck when you weren't looking. This is the contract you signed with the ink of your own inertia. You didn't lose your freedom in one grand, tragic moment of sacrifice. You traded it, bit by bit, for the convenience of a comfortable cage. You traded the terrifying, electric vastness of a real life for the predictable, sugar-coated crumbs of a simulated existence. You are not living. You are merely participating in a long-term lease of a persona that doesn't even belong to you. And deep down, in that quiet midnight hour, when the blue light of your phone finally fades and the silence becomes loud enough to hurt, you know it. You feel the weight of the years you've spent building a monument to a person you don't even like. You feel the crushing gravity of the should-haves and the could-haves, all sacrificed on the altar of a security that is nothing more than a well-funded illusion. We are told that this is just the way the world works, that the numbness you feel is just the price of admission to the modern world. But what if that numbness isn't a side effect? What if the numbness is the goal? What if the system you serve doesn't want you happy, but merely occupied? What if your freedom was never stolen but slowly dissolved in a vat of lukewarm pleasures and minor conveniences? If this resonates, consider subscribing. Look at your days. Really look at them, stripped of the justifications you tell yourself to get through the work week. You wake up to an alarm that sounds like a clinical emergency, a digital shriek that jolts your nervous system into a state of high cortisol panic before your feet even touch the floor. You consume news that you cannot influence and gossip that does not matter, filling the pristine silence of your morning with the toxic exhaust of a world that thrives on your outrage. You drive through a landscape of concrete and advertisements, heading to a place where you perform tasks that could be done by a machine, or perhaps more accurately, tasks that are designed to turn you into a machine. You are a biological processor in a vast, indifferent network of capital and consumption. You sell the most precious thing you possess, your time, the very fabric of your finite existence, in exchange for pieces of paper that you then trade for objects that are designed to break, or status symbols that are designed to make other people feel as small as you feel. This is the cycle. This is the machine. It is a system built on the premise that you are a hole that can never be filled, a consumer who must be kept in a perpetual state of hunger. It feeds you crumbs of happiness, a new purchase, a like on a photo, a weekend of intoxicated oblivion, to keep you from noticing that you are starving for a feast of meaning. You are suffering from an existential malnutrition that no amount of material wealth can cure. We see people at the end of their lives, their bodies failing, their eyes finally clear of the fog of the grind. And what do they regret? They don't regret not working more hours. They don't regret not buying the luxury car. They regret the silence. They regret the things they never said because they were too busy being professional. They regret the dreams they strangled in the cradle because they were too afraid of what the neighbors would think. They regret trading their freedom for a lifetime of crumbs. But here is where the story shifts. What if the crushing weight you feel right now, the anxiety that hums in your chest like a faulty transformer, the sudden urge to burn it all down and walk into the woods, isn't a sign that you are broken? What if it's the only part of you that's still functioning? We live in a society that pathologizes existential dread. If you are sad, they tell you it's a chemical imbalance. If you are restless, they tell you it's a lack of focus. If you feel like your life is a hollow performance, they tell you that you just need a better hobby or a different antidepressant. But perhaps your sadness is not a sickness. It is a protest. It is the voice of your soul screaming through the gag of your conditioning. This transition of consciousness this dark night, is not a hole you have fallen into. It is a tunnel you are moving through. The system calls it a crisis because a person who is questioning the value of their life is a person who is difficult to manage. A person who realizes that crumbs are not enough is a person who might stop working for the machine. Your discomfort is the birth of your freedom. It is the moment the matrix glitches, and you realize that the walls of your cage are made of nothing but your own consent. If this resonates, consider subscribing. To understand why you are here, we must look at the architects of our existential prison. Friedrich Nietzsche warned us of the arrival of the last man. The last man is the ultimate product of a civilization that has traded greatness for comfort. He is the person who asks, what is love? What is creation? What is longing? What is a star? And then blinks in confusion because he cannot find the answer in a spreadsheet or a comfort meal. The last man wants a life without pain, but in doing so, he creates a life without depth. He has his little pleasure for the day and his little pleasure for the night, but he has no soul. You have been trained to be the last man. You have been taught that the highest good is the avoidance of suffering, not realizing that suffering is the very soil in which the spirit grows. Without the weight of the world, you simply drift away. Then there is Albert Camus, who stared into the absurd silence of the universe and realized that our lives are often like the myth of Sisyphus, endlessly rolling a boulder up a hill only for it to roll back down again. The system wants you to think the boulder is the point. It wants you to believe that if you just push hard enough, one day the boulder will stay at the top. But it never does. The tragedy isn't the boulder. The tragedy is the belief that the boulder defines you. Martin Heidegger spoke of Das Man, the they self. Most of your life is lived as they. You wear what they wear, you value what they value, and you fear what they fear. You are living a life in the third person. You have abandoned your ownness, your Gemeinigkeit, for the safety of the crowd. You have traded your individual spark for the dim, flickering light of collective mediocrity. You are terrified of your own death because you know deep down that you haven't actually lived your own life yet. You are a placeholder for a person who never arrived. Søren Kierkegaard described this as the sickness unto death, a despair so deep that the person suffering from it doesn't even know they are despairing. They think they are fine. They have a good job, a nice house, and a healthy family. But their spirit is dead because they have never made a real choice. They have only followed the path of least resistance. They are anonymously successful. They are comfortably lost. If this resonates, consider subscribing. Imagine you are standing in a magnificent, sprawling palace. The ceilings are high, the windows look out over infinite horizons, and every room is filled with the potential for creation, love, and discovery. This palace is your life. It is the vast, terrifying, beautiful scope of your human potential. But instead of exploring the galleries or looking out the windows, you have spent the last 20 years huddled in a small, damp closet under the stairs. Why? Because the closet has a heater. Because in the closet, you know exactly where the walls are. Because in the closet, no one can see you, but no one can hurt you either. The system is the person who keeps knocking on the closet door, handing you a small stale cracker every few hours and telling you how lucky you are to be in the closet. Outside is dangerous, they whisper. Outside is uncertain. Outside, you might fail. Stay here. Eat your cracker. Look at this small screen we've provided for you, and you stay. You stay until your legs cramp and your eyes grow accustomed to the dark. You start to believe that the closet is the whole world. You start to value the crackers more than the sun. You trade the palace of your freedom for the crumbs of the closet. But the palace is still there. The doors are not locked. The only thing keeping you in the closet is the fear that you have forgotten how to walk in the light. The most dangerous lie the system tells you is that happiness is a destination that can be purchased. They sell you solutions to a problem they created. They give you high fructose corn syrup to fix the exhaustion caused by your labor, and then they sell you diet pills to fix the weight you gained from the syrup. They give you social media to fix the loneliness caused by the breakdown of community, and then they sell you therapy to fix the anxiety caused by social media. It is a closed loop of artificial needs and superficial satisfactions. This is the dopamine trap. We have become a species of wireheads pressing the button for another hit of fake happy while our real lives rot in the corner. Hedonism is not freedom. It is just a different kind of leash. It's a velvet leash, but it still pulls you toward the slaughterhouse of regret. When you live for the next high, the next purchase, or the next distraction, you are a slave to your biological impulses, which have been hijacked by a predatory economy. A life lived in pursuit of fun is the most miserable life imaginable, because fun is a phantom that vanishes the moment you try to touch it. If this resonates, consider subscribing. To break free, you must first accept the weight of being. You must stop looking for an exit and start looking for an entrance. The new paradigm isn't about finding happiness, it's about finding truth. It's about moving from a life of what makes me feel good to what is real. This is the shift from the aesthetic life to the ethical and then to the religious, in Kierkegaard's sense, not necessarily a dogmatic religion, but a life of absolute commitment to something higher than your own comfort. Living of truth means standing naked before the universe and saying, I do not know what I am, but I will not be a lie. It means reclaiming your attention from the algorithms. It means choosing the difficult yes over the easy no. It means realizing that your integrity is the only thing you truly own. You can lose your job, your money, and your status, but if you have not sold your soul for crumbs, you are still a king in your own kingdom. Authenticity is not a personality trait. It is a daily, grueling practice of resistance. It is the refusal to speak words that aren't yours. It is the refusal to live a life that doesn't fit your skin. It is the terrifying realization that you are the architect of your own meaning. You might say, this sounds nice, but I have a mortgage. I have children. I can't just walk away from the system. And you are right. This is where the emotional validation comes in. The system is designed to make escape feel like suicide. It has intertwined your survival with your submission. It is okay to be afraid. It is okay to feel trapped. The point isn't to quit your job and move to a cave, though for some that might be the answer. The point is to stop being a citizen of the matrix in your heart. You can work the job, but you must not let the job own your identity. You can live in the world, but you must not be of the world's illusions. The real revolution happens in the space between your thoughts. It happens when you look at a luxury item and to feel nothing but pity for the person who thinks it will save them. It happens when you look at your own suffering and say, welcome, what have you come to teach me? You don't need to burn your house down to be free. You just need to stop believing that the house is who you are. The liberation is internal first and external eventually. If this resonates, consider subscribing. Think of a man named Elias. Elias did everything right. He went to the right schools, married the right person, and climbed the corporate ladder until he reached an office with a view of the city. He was the envy of his peers. But one Tuesday afternoon, while sitting in a meeting about maximizing shareholder value, Elias had a realization. He looked at the faces of his colleagues and realized he didn't know them. He looked at his own hands and realized they hadn't touched anything real, soil, wood, or loved one's skin, in months. They had only touched plastic and glass. He felt a sudden violent wave of nausea. He went to the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and realized he didn't recognize the man looking back. He had become a collection of habits and obligations. He had traded his life for a very expensive coffin. That night, he didn't go home. He drove to the edge of the city and sat in the dark for hours. He didn't find God, and he didn't find peace. He found the void. He found the terrifying silence of a life unlived. And in that silence, for the first time in 40 years, he felt a spark of something real. It was a cold, sharp spark, but it was his. He began the long, painful process of dismantling the lie. He lost friends. He lost status. He lost the crumbs. But for the first time, when he woke up, he didn't need an alarm to tell him he was alive. His crisis wasn't an end. It was the beginning of his first day on Earth. Transformation is not a clean, aesthetic process. It is not a butterfly emerging from a cocoon. It is the caterpillar's body literally dissolving into a green soup of enzymes. You must be willing to rot before you can rise. You must let the you that the system built decompose. The things you think are your personality, your tastes, your opinions, your ambitions. Most of these are just the mulch of your conditioning. Let them go. The void you are so afraid of isn't a pit that will swallow you. It is the womb from which your true self is born. The emptiness is the mestra, the master. It is the only place where the truth can be heard because it is the only place where the noise of the system is silenced. When you stop filling the void with crumbs, you realize that the void is actually space, and space is what you need to grow. You have been so afraid of being nothing that you have forgotten how to be something. In the decomposition of your false life, you find the nutrients for your real one. If this resonates, consider subscribing. So, how do you do it? How do you stop trading your freedom for crumbs? First, habitate the void. Sit in a room for 30 minutes a day with no screens, no books, and no music. Just you and the silence. Watch how your mind panics. Watch how it begs for a crumb of distraction. Do not give in. Study the panic. That panic is the sound of your ego realizing it doesn't exist without the system's input. Second, audit your desires. Every time you want to buy something, or every time you feel an impulse to climb or compete, ask yourself, is this my desire, or was this desire installed in me by a world that wants my money? Learn to distinguish between the hunger of your soul and the hunger of your conditioning. Third, stop the life lag. Stop living for the one day. One day I'll be free. One day I'll travel. One day I'll be myself. There is no one day. There is only the biological now. Every second you spend in a waiting room for your real life to start is a second you are actively throwing into the trash. Fourth, recognize the biometric cage. Notice how your devices use your own biology, your dopamine, your fear, your need for belonging, against you. Reclaim your biological sovereignty. Turn off the notifications. Look at the trees. Reconnect with the physical world, the world of rot and growth, which is the only world that is real. Fifth, practice the no. Say no to the promotion that will take your soul. Say no to the social event that is just a theater of vanities. Say no to the expectations of your parents, your neighbors, and your digital followers. Every no to the system is a yes to your own freedom. We started by asking why you traded your freedom for crumbs of happiness. The answer is simple, because freedom is heavy. Freedom requires you to be responsible for the meaning of your own life, and that is the most terrifying burden a human can carry. It is much easier to be a slave to a system that gives you a script and a few crackers to keep you quiet. But that ease is the ease of the graveyard. The problem you are feeling, the dread, the emptiness, the sense that this can't be all there is not the problem. It is the solution. It is the first ray of light hitting your eyes as you emerge from the closet. The pain you feel is the circulation returning to a limb that has been asleep for a lifetime. You are not losing your mind. You are finding your soul. The matrix only has power over you as long as you believe its crumbs are a feast. Once you see the crumbs for what they are, stale, hollow, and insufficient, the system loses its grip. You are no longer a consumer. You are a creator. You are no longer a subject. You are a sovereign. The world will try to pull you back. It will offer you bigger crumbs, softer pillows, and more elaborate distractions. But you know better now. You have tasted the cold air of the palace, and the closet will never be enough again. If this resonates, consider subscribing. Your freedom was never truly gone. It was just waiting for you to realize that you were the one holding the keys all along. The door is open. The palace is vast. The sun is rising. And the crumbs, let the birds have them. You were made for the feast. The tragedy of life is not that it ends too soon, but that we wait so long to begin it. You have spent your life preparing to live. Now, finally, you can stop preparing and start being. The weight of your freedom is the only thing that will ever make you feel solid in a world of ghosts. Don't look back. The closet is empty. The world is yours. And remember, a life lived for the approval of a system is a life that was never lived at all. Wake up. The crumbs are gone, but for the first time, you aren't hungry. You are finally, terrifyingly, beautifully free. In the end, you will realize that the void was never your enemy. It was the canvas. And the happiness you were chasing was never the goal. It was just the bait. The goal was always the chase itself, the movement toward the truth of who you are when all the mirrors are broken. You didn't trade your freedom for crumbs. You just forgot that you were the baker. Go now. Build something that doesn't need an audience to exist. Love something that doesn't offer you a return on investment. Live a life that would make your deathbed self smile with the quiet, smug satisfaction of a person who actually showed up for the show. You are the fire, not the wood. Stop trying to be warm and start trying to burn. This is the only way to be sure you are not already dead. The system is a dream. Your suffering is the alarm clock. Thank the alarm, and then, for the love of everything holy, get out of bed. Your life is waiting, and it's much larger than you've been led to believe. The crumbs were never enough, and they were never meant to be. They were just the trail of breadcrumbs leading you back to yourself. Now that you're here, you can finally stop eating and start breathing. If this resonates, consider subscribing. Your journey is just beginning. The path of the authentic life is paved with the corpses of the people you were supposed to be. It is a lonely road at first, but it is the only road that leads anywhere worth going. The Matrix is not a place. It is a state of mind where safety is valued more than truth. To leave it, you don't have to go anywhere. You just have to stop lying to yourself. You have to admit that the crumbs aren't working. You have to admit that you are starving in the land of plenty. And once you admit that, the walls start to thin. The neon lights of the system begin to flicker and fade, replaced by the steady, ancient light of the stars. You are part of something much older and much more dangerous than a career or a brand. You are a localized explosion of the universe trying to understand itself. Don't waste that explosion on a middle management position or a better credit score. Be the storm. Be the silence. Be the thing that the system cannot categorize or control. Be free, not because it's easy, but because the alternative is a slow death in a comfortable room. And you were never meant to die in a room. You were meant to die in the middle of a grand, impossible adventure. So take the first step. Leave the closet. Drop the crumbs. The feast is waiting, and you are the guest of honor. Your freedom is not a prize to be won. It is a nature to be reclaimed. The system spends billions of dollars every year to make you forget that you are a sovereign being. It wants you to feel small, fragmented, and dependent. It wants you to believe that without its structures, you would be nothing. But the truth is the exact opposite. Without you, the system is nothing. It is a parasite that feeds on your redirected energy. When you withdraw your consent, when you stop seeking validation from its hollow institutions, you starve the parasite. You reclaim the energy that was being used to build your own prison. This is the ultimate reframe. Your anxiety is not a weakness. It is your power trying to find a way out. Your depression is not a failure. It is your spirit refusing to cooperate with a lie. Your restlessness is not a disorder. It is your destiny calling you to something greater. The world is a mirror, and if you don't like what you see, stop trying to clean the mirror and start changing the face that is looking into it. You are the source. You are the center. You are the reason the lights are on. Stop acting like a guest in your own life. This is your house. This is your time. This is your one chance to be something other than a statistic. The architecture of the Matrix is built on the fear of the end. It promises you a kind of secular immortality through accumulation and legacy. But death is the ultimate liberator. When you realize that you are going to die, really realize it, in your bones, the crumbs lose all their flavor. Why would you care about a promotion when you are a being made of stardust on a rock hurtling through an infinite void? Why would you care about the opinions of people who will be dust alongside you in a few short decades? The regrets of the end of life are only possible if you live a life that isn't yours. If you live authentically, if you inhabit your freedom, death is not a tragedy. It is just the final punctuation mark on a masterpiece. You have been traded a life of safety for a life of significance. It's time to trade back. It's time to take the risk of being who you actually are. It is the only risk that has any chance of paying off. The system will tell you that you are being selfish, or irresponsible, or crazy. But the most irresponsible thing you can do is to waste the miracle of your existence on a life of crumbs. The most selfish thing you can do is to deny the world the gift of your true self. And as for being crazy, in a world that is fundamentally insane, sanity is the only thing that looks like madness. If this resonates, consider subscribing. We have been conditioned to believe that the good life is one where all our needs are met and all our desires are satisfied. But a life without friction is a life without growth. The crumbs of happiness the system provides are like a local anesthetic. They dull the pain, but they don't heal the wound. The wound is your separation from your own essence. To heal it, you must be willing to feel the pain. You must be willing to walk through the fire of your own contradictions. You must be willing to be uncomfortable. The Matrix is a comfort machine, but the universe is a meaning machine. You cannot have both. You must choose. Will you have the comfortable lie or the painful truth? Will you have the crumbs or the feast? The choice is made every morning in the first 5 minutes after you wake up. It is made in every yes and every no. It is made in the way you spend your attention and the way you treat your own soul. You have been a spectator for long enough. It's time to get onto the field. It's time to play the game for real. The stakes are everything you are and everything you could be. Don't play it safe, play it true. As you move forward, remember that the goal is not to reach a state of perfection. There is no perfect life waiting for you at the end of this process. There's only a real life. A real life has sorrow, it has failure, and it has profound uncertainty. But it also has a weight and a texture that the simulated life of the system can never replicate. A real life feels like yours. When you cry, they are your tears. When you laugh, it is your joy. When you stand in the middle of that room we talked about at the beginning, you will no longer feel like a stranger. You will feel like the master of the house. You will look at the walls you once used to hide behind and see them for what they are, just wood and stone. You will look at the crumbs on the table and smile, knowing that you no longer need them to survive. You have found the source of nourishment within yourself. You have reclaimed your freedom, and in doing so, you have become the one thing the system cannot handle, a human being who is fully, unapologetically awake. If this resonates, consider subscribing. The system's greatest trick was making you believe that freedom was a destination you had to earn, rather than a state of being you had to inhabit. You were born free, and then you were taught to be a slave. You were born a giant, and then you were taught to walk on your knees so the people around you wouldn't feel small. It's time to stand up. It's time to remember the scale of your own soul. The crumbs were never your portion. They were just the bait. You are the hunter, the seeker, the one who looks into the dark and sees the light that hasn't arrived yet. Don't settle for the mosh crumbs of happiness when you are the architect of joy. Don't settle for the matrix when you are the reality that the matrix is trying to simulate. You are the truth. You are the way. You are the life. And the only thing between you and your freedom is the belief that you aren't already holding it. Open your hand. Let the crumbs fall. See how light you feel. See how high you can reach. The world is waiting for you to stop pretending. The stars are waiting for you to join them. And the silence is no longer a threat. It is the sound of your own voice, finally speaking your own name.